been a professional for 9 years now. I started off in racing around Australia, trying to find a path. I never realised that I'd ever be a successful international cyclist, ever get to travel. At that stage, I hadn't even been on a plane before, so I found that I had some ability with it in Australia, and we don't have any choices in Australia but to go somewhere else. And back then, the pinnacle was to go to Europe, and I found a way to go over there, and got my head beaten against the wall for a few years, and I grew up very quickly. There was a lot of testing situations and life lessons, and I loved it. I really did. It was such a challenge, and each day you're on your toes and kind of having to be resourceful and look after yourself, do everything that you need to do, and that's why I love to travel, and that's why I love being overseas. And I ended up spending 6 years in Europe, 1 year in Italy, 3 years in Portugal, 2 years in Belgium. 2007, I started speaking to Ed Beeman, who's one of our directors at Flybe Australia this year, and I came and raced with him with the Navigators team. That was my first foray into the racing over here in the US, and I love the lifestyle that we can lead over here, and it's not just all brutally cycling shoved in your face, and the cultural divide. Even though back in Europe you do everything you can to be a part of it, it's just you're kind of working on different levels. There's a different hierarchy. Where here, racing in America, especially racing with Flybe Australia now, is that we're all part of the same system, where we're all part of the same team and looking after each other, and it's not one guy's up here or one guy's up there and this guy's down here. We're like this, and that's what I've really enjoyed about racing in the US for the last couple of years. So, yeah. When I first came into sport, there were 5 Australian professionals in Europe. Hank Vogels, Stuart O'Grady, Robbie McEwen. There weren't. This was the guys that we're all reading about in the magazine and stuff. And I think we have something like 40 guys just in the Pro Tour now. We have a really strong nation, and for a very small population and small cycling community, we have incredible talent. And it's just. Maybe it's just we have a bit of an Australian community, and we really love to kind of get out there, and even if your mate's on a different team, you get to a race in a foreign country, and you always have a bit of a chin wag at the start of it to catch up and talk about what you've been up to and stuff. So with all of this, the interest is growing. We've started off with those 5 guys doing incredible things in Europe, and now we've got so many people, and the culmination of Cadell winning the World Championships last year. I haven't lived in Australia for 10 years now, so I don't have a full grasp on what's going on over there. But, I hear from my friend back in Australia during the Tour de France, says, "Oh, geez, that last week of the Tour de France is really hard. It's just getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning to watch the last 3 hours of the stage." I'm like, yeah, well, imagine how the riders feel, So,
yeah, imagine after 150.
Yeah, so they're looking forward to the rest days as well. Excuse my French, I think it's just a little bit of our no bullshit attitude. I think you can analyse everything, and you can think about everything and consider how many different ways you can do it, but sometimes you just got to get out there and do it. And I think we do have a little bit of we got a little bit of both going on, but we just get out there and get the job done. We have personalities and characters who can just kind of very open and honest, and if you piss me off, it's like I'll tell you that, and then we'll go have a beer later on and sort it out, and I think for that reason we find that in a team situation that we're all there ready to die for each other. And if you watch the World Championships within the Australian national team, see how well those guys are gelled for that one race of the year. And then spend some time with the Flybe Australia team, and we got 15 guys from other nations as well. But these guys are part of Aussies now as well, and it's just such an incredible bond, really close, tight knit group. And there's been some memorable occasions that we've had already this year, and we haven't even started racing yet. So it's a life experience. It's really a lot more than just cycling. The style of racing is completely different. When it comes down to the actual racing, it's like in Europe, the intensity is Well, you start off, it's not so full on, you know. It's like everyone spending the first couple of hours just kind of, you know, kicking around. But the races are longer, you know, and at the end of the day, you have to have a massive, big aerobic engine to, you know, match it with the big boys in the last 40, 50 Ks. Um, the depth of talent over there has been really strong for a very long time. And, you know, when I first came to the US, the biggest difference I noticed was that you'd have two, three, four teams which are good, and on those teams, maybe 5 or 6 of the guys are good riders, and then maybe a couple other guys were kind of just making up the numbers. So for the first couple of years that I was here, you know, I could feel that difference. It's not like 150 guys racing for that same spot. It was more like 30 guys. But that's changing too, you know, like Tour of California in the last couple of years is just like mental. It's just getting harder and harder. And that's playing down to all the other races as well. Like, there's so much talent in the US right now. So many good teams, and the racing's getting harder. It's still shorter. It's more intense. It's more aggressive. And I think we're still going to see a lot of people kind of being able to go back and forth and be successful in both of these continents. We really hope to be there as well. Like, it's just a culmination of racing in the US. Like, there's no two ways about that. I've been involved with it 3 times now. Coming into the Rose Bowl last year, like, the people were just mental, and it's just crowd going crazy. And I remember just looking at the other 30 cyclists in the group, and the Andy Schlecks and the best cyclists in the world were like looking at each other, going, "What is this? This is amazing!" And let's keep going on that. Like, look how strong cycling is in this country now because of races like this. Fly via Australia want to be there. We have a great team that can really mix it up for this race, and you know, we hope to be there in a couple of months. We're not here as employees or cyclists or staff members or anything like that. We're all kind of here as a collective on this journey. And, you know, I was just actually talking to one of the staff members now about it, and it's kind of like we've been given this lottery ticket to be involved in something like this. Every single person on this team, from the mechanics to the soigneurs to the directors to the riders, all believe in the direction that we're heading. You know, and a lot of this is because of Chris White and his the way that he relates his vision to us. You know, and there's a lot of broken promises in cycling, and if you ask each one of the cyclists, they're going to come up with a few crappy stories that they've had to deal with in their lives, like broken promises, like contracts that weren't fulfilled and stuff. We're inspired here, and we have 100% belief and commitment and determination into what we know will be the future of this team, and we want to stay involved with it. We're very lucky individuals right now. So.